Probably a combination of just worried about height. I'm bald, and I mean, I did maybe worry about ethnicity a little bit. I'm Indian, less of a worry in the Northern California area. So we went to there's a really nice restaurant, seafood restaurant by the river here in Sacramento, and and that's where we went, and I proposed to her by the river near sunset. I tried to time it at that time. So it feels really good. I mean, she's probably the most supportive person in my life by far. She's helped me kind of gain the courage to take some steps to start my own business. And I'm actually starting to head down that road. Well, I think it's invaluable when you find the right person that you want to be with. I don't know what sort of price you would put on that.
All right, hi everyone, and here we are with another inspirational story for you guys, and this one's really exciting to hear because this is a past client of mine. It's been a couple years, and he shared the great news with me that he is engaged, and I'm excited that he is willing to kind of hop on and talk about his own journey, even though it's been a while. So hopefully encourage you guys that you can get there as well. So today we have my client or past client here, Rohan. Hi, Rohan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, given all the circumstances.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, everyone, we are talking, if you're watching this later in the future, it's 2020 and it's still during the pandemic. So he is probably doing his best to even plan a wedding at this time. But let's hop right in so the audience can get to know you, and we'll ask you some questions. So Rohan, can you give everyone a little summary of who you are, where you kind of started, and where you are now?
Yeah, so I'm now 40. I work software engineering mainly in the medical space. And as far as dating before, it's really very spotty. I didn't really know what to do. And now I've been dating my fiance for the past 2 years, and we're planning to get married in October.
Awesome. That's amazing. Just amazing news. And so, I mean, during our time, what do you think was the biggest obstacle you overcame?
I think probably the biggest obstacle is I didn't know how to do things. Even just the clarity of like the type of person I was looking for wasn't there. So I think that those were the biggest things I got from your coaching.
Got it. Yeah, because and remind me, before when you started with me, were you dabbling in dating apps and all of that before, and you just hadn't had luck, or did you not do anything? Remind the audience of kind of where you were before.
Dating apps, like off and on. I think I was on OkCupid mainly for the tests, and then and I think I had another like co-location app happen, but it was definitely dabbling, and it wasn't really like anything serious there.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you were trying, but it seemed like you weren't really getting the results that you were wanting to see. Awesome. Yeah. And what, in the beginning, what did you, or even during our time, what did you kind of worry about? What did you think would make dating harder for you when you started?
Yeah, probably a combination of just worried about height. I'm bald, and I mean, I did maybe worry about ethnicity a little bit. I'm Indian, less of a worry in the Northern California area. But
okay, got it. Yeah, so you were worried about those couple of things and how it might impact dating. And I believe I even remember mentioning to you how the only thing that's hard about online dating, especially with things like height, is that they see it, right? And a lot of people can quickly judge with that, unfortunately.
Right.
The only hard part about it. But we persisted, we continued with that, which is awesome. And you obviously continued it until you find the right person. So Can you give everyone a little summary of how my guidance has helped you get the woman that you have now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just putting it in writing and getting clarity on who it is that I'm looking for, and kind of broaden my perspective there. I think that was probably the biggest thing, instead of just uh, like, I mean, it seems very scattershot if you don't know, if you're not aware of what it is that makes a good connection with someone.
Mm.
Uh,
Right. It's like throwing things at the wall and
yeah,
trying to see what sticks.
yeah,
But what it seemed like, and you mentioned even before, is the focus and the clarity on kind of each step of the way
yeah,
was already just helpful enough.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Uh, and 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 with that, did you already notice when you were on these apps and you probably found your fiance now that you could already tell just by the few conversations that she was more of what you were looking for?
Yeah, yeah. And also when we started doing the actual dates, like our sense of humor definitely meshed right away.
Mm.
It was so first date, first. Well, I guess it would have been the third date. We actually the first movie we saw together was Deadpool, so I knew we had very similar senses of humor.
That's that's awesome. Great movie, by the way. And so speaking of which, yeah, tell everyone a little bit more about how you're feeling now. Like, tell us a little bit about the even story of the progression of how you guys dated and even how you proposed. I actually don't think I know that story. But yeah, how are you feeling now?
So I actually met her on Coffee Meets Bagel, which was an app that I wasn't aware of until we
Hmm.
worked, and you actually helped me make the profile for that, and then yeah, when she contacted me, it was almost immediate, like connection back and forth.
Mm.
Uh, it was easy to talk with her, and we actually made within the day we made plans for a date. Uh,
Wow.
Initial date was she was actually going to come and see. Like I do these like one of my hobbies is doing some ballroom and swing type dancings, and
Awesome.
she was going to come see the performance as a first date. Then I
Mhm.
was like, that could be a little awkward, so let's get coffee like 2 days before.
Right.
So, so that
That's
was the
awesome.
first date, and then she did see performance 2 days later, and then the third date was like the next. I think the very next day we went to see a movie and then had dinner afterwards. Um, then since then, like a lot of the dates were things where I was meeting her friends, and I'd try to get her to come to the dance studio, and she'd meet a lot of friends that I had.
Awesome.
Um, and probably the final stage was finally telling her parents. She has a very traditional uh, um, upbringing,
Mm.
and basically, as soon as you tell your parents, that means
That's
you know
it. Right.
that yeah. So we ended up uh, telling her parents last December, and then I met them in early January, and then the parents met each other in March, and then as soon as we got back from that trip is when I uh, proposed to her.
Got it. Got it. Wow, that's awesome. How did you do it?
So we went to there's a really nice restaurant, a seafood restaurant by the river here in Sacramento,
Mm.
and yeah, and that's where we went, and I proposed to her by the river near sunset. I tried to time it at that time. So.
That's amazing. Amazing. Congratulations. And look at that. How romantic. How does it feel to be in a solid, happy relationship?
It feels really good. I mean, she's probably the most supportive person in my life by far. Uh,
Oh,
so actually, she's helped me kind of gain the courage to take some steps to start my own business,
mm,
and I'm actually starting to head down that road. Yeah, and it's definitely the most supportive person in my life in terms of all those things go.
that's amazing. I feel like a lot of people, they, imagine when you are in a healthy relationship, it's another person that helps you grow in ways that you couldn't by yourself.
Right.
And it seems like she's doing exactly that. And that's what everyone would want for a companion. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's really awesome. So happy for you. So, I mean, many people are usually too scared to get help on such a vulnerable topic. It can feel shameful, especially if you, especially with clients of mine that are Asian, Indian, doesn't matter. There's that sector there of probably growing up in a traditional family, and it can feel odd, right? Can you speak to that, and what would you say to them?
Well, I think just, I mean, it's only awkward at the beginning. I feel like once you start going through it, it feels very comfortable just because there are very specific things that you're trying to do.
Got it, got it. Right. It seems like in the beginning, of course, it's always a little odd or even scary. But when you're actually taking action to get help in where you want, right, why would it feel scary anymore?
Right.
Right? Awesome. Great. And what are the reasons you noticed in the beginning, if you can think back and remember, that you noticed made this investment worth it when you first said yes? Like, what was the reason why you decided to take this plunge and do coaching with me?
I think I saw, I think you sent me a video of your example of how you were doing the coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that got me there. And beyond that, and I didn't realize this until much later. I think I had seen your TED talk
Oh,
at at one point, but it didn't register that I was the same person until later.
that's awesome. Awesome. And but what was it that made you actually say yes? So you saw the videos and things like that, but what pushed you to do like, okay, I'm gonna do this?
It just seemed like it would work. I don't know how to say it any other way. Like it just seemed like, yeah, I think this will work.
Got it. There you go. Okay. Awesome. Now, one of the last questions here. What qualities do you think one needs to be successful in this and be like you? Like you in a relationship, being engaged and happy. What do you think someone listening to this, a future client, would need?
I think being open to the early introspection process, just making sure that you really understand yourself and who you're looking for, I think is probably, for me, that's what I found the most valuable is like the clarity you get from that. Um, and of course the steps themselves of like what to do, how to write your profile and things of that sort are definitely very, very helpful as well. But I think long term, just the clarity of like understanding like who you are and like the connection that you're looking for, and
Mm.
who you would actually connect with. I think that's probably the most important thing.
That's amazing. I'm really happy you say that because I feel like, so in general, you're saying like being open to it, and especially being open to, well, looking within
Right.
for yourself and seeing where you could grow and finding clarity in that way. And interesting enough, I mean, since we've worked together, obviously I always fine tune my own process and program. And now I have everyone making sure they spend almost at least a couple weeks or a month on just the internal work, right? And the prep work, because that's so important before you even enter a relationship. And people forget that. People always think like, oh, just give me the strategies, and I'll figure it out. But that doesn't give you long-term guidance. So, and what I want to end this with as well is I want everyone to know, and it's awesome because he actually found his lady after our time. And I was pretty close. I remember you said it was pretty close to after we were done. But I think what's so important to remember in regards to that is just because the success wasn't actually within the time we were in, what's more important is continuing the practice afterwards, no matter how long it takes. Because at the end of the day, we work together to build that clarity and that focus and building basically like a system so that you can keep doing it until you meet that right person. And that's all it takes. So I think that's important to hear. And I think that was a really cool part of your story, that it didn't happen within the time. I didn't know about her. It happened afterwards. All right. So to wrap this up, usually anyone that's listening to this are kind of on the fence about doing one-on-one or getting guidance at all in this. So just to wrap it up, what would you say to those guys listening right now and that's on the fence?
Well, I think I mean it's invaluable when you find the right person that you want to be with. Like I don't know what sort of price you would put on that. Yeah, I would say I mean definitely just give it a try. And at worst you learn something, and at best you find someone you're looking for.
Fantastic. Love that. Yeah, it's true. The worst really is that you learn. That's it, right? You learn something new. But you've learned something. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story today. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I mean, I know you're planning a wedding during this pandemic, but good luck to you both. And I wish you both happiness for forever. And everything that you've ever wished for. But thank you so much for joining me today, Rohan, and have a good one. And thank you, everyone, for listening.